This video will review installation of WoodTrac's closet shelving program using the pictured layout as an example. Because this layout involves a shelf tower, we'll begin by assembling the shelf tower and setting it in place on the floor. Now we'll begin finding and marking our stud locations. Then we can set in our back cleat, which should be approximately 80 1/8 inch off the floor to the bottom of the cleat, but we'll line it up so that the bottom of the groove is level with the top of the upright to ensure a good fit. Since this is larger than an 8-foot wall, we'll also cut and install another piece of wall cleat, and then we can begin to put in the remaining wall cleat on our other walls. We're securing it with 2 3/4 inch screws to the studs. Next, we'll install our side cleats, which you want to flush against that back cleat. Mark your pilot holes through the pre-drilled holes in the side cleat and install your drywall anchors. Then you'll take the same 2 3/4 inch screws and secure your side cleat to the drywall anchors, being sure not to sink these too far below the surface. We can now install our back cleat 38 1/8 inch off the floor to the bottom of the cleat for our lower hang section. We'll secure it to the back wall before installing our side cleats to the wall, and then securing a side cleat to the upright using a 1-inch black auger screw to ensure we don't poke through the upright. Next, we will install our top shelves, which slide into the grooves. Now, if your closet has an intersecting shelf like this one, you have the option to install a corner shelf connector. While not necessary, a corner shelf connector helps hide the seam between two intersecting boards. Because this shelf is not going to end on a wall, we need to support the end of the shelf with a bracket. We'll mark 10 inches from the end of the shelf and install a bracket cleat and ultimately a shelf and rod bracket to support the end of the shelf. Now in this wall, we're going to have a shelf splice because it's longer than 8 feet. In the same principle, we want to mark 10 inches from the splice to install brackets to support the ends of the shelves. Anytime you're dealing with extended runs, make sure there's no more than 32 inches between brackets or a bracket and a wall. This ensures proper support of the shelf and rod. With bracket cleats installed, we can now install the first of our top shelves in this run. Now is the time to install a shelf connector if you wish to hide the seam between intersecting boards. With our shelf connector installed, we can now install the second top shelf into the groove and into the side cleat. At this point, we want to ensure our shelf is flush with the side cleat before installing our angle brackets, which help prevent the shelf from sliding forward or backwards. Finally, we'll install our side cleat appliques, which are pre-cut pieces of edge band, to finish off the unfinished edge of the side cleats. With our top shelves installed, we can now move on to installing our shelf and rod brackets. We'll use number 8 3/4 inch chrome screws to secure each of these. To install our rod side brackets, use the installation template provided to mark your holes and screw in the bracket. This should put the lower hole of the bracket 10 3/4 inches from the back cleat and 7/8 inches from the bottom of the cleat. With all of our brackets installed, it's now time to measure, cut, and install our closet rods. We'll anchor these with number 10 chrome self-tapping screws that are installed through the hole in the shelf and rod bracket. Because we were dealing with greater than an 8-foot section, we put the seam of the two rods over a shelf and rod bracket so they're both supported. Now we can anchor our shelf tower with 4 angle brackets and wafer head screws. Begin by installing a shelf at the top so that you ensure proper spacing. Then install 1 shelf bracket on the outside of each upright and 1 on the inside of each upright for 4 total brackets. Although it's not shown in this video, when you're done installing your brackets at the upper part of the uprights, you should secure the built-in middle cleat to your studs. We'll now install our remaining brackets and rods. The final steps in our WoodTrac closet shelving installation will be to cap any screw holes with the circle appliques and to install our adjustable shelves with the shelf pins provided. For additional installation specs or videos, visit woodtrac.com.